What up, everybody? Tonight, the HVAC Grapevine, your host, Chris Hughes. To my left tonight, Eric Kaiser. To my bottom, Michael Cianfranco. This is the show where we talk about HVAC industry news and whatever Michael did during the week, which is probably more than I did during the week. And then whatever Eric probably read this week. Am I right? Speaking of what we've read this week, I finished Brian Orr's book this week on an airplane. Why did I finish it on the airplane?
Mine's up there on the shelf.
Yeah?
I haven't finished it yet.
So let's talk about how this played out. I was coming back from Cleveland Friday night. I was supposed to fly out at 9:30, and I went to Atlanta. Huge storm came through, and they derailed us to Nashville. And I was like, all right, we're going to fuel up. I'm going to get over there. I got like a 2-hour layover. I'm totally going to make my connecting flight to get home. Get to Atlanta, plenty enough time. I'm there, plane delay. And I'm thinking, all right, maybe we're going to – my wife said our show's not playing on her end.
Uh-oh.
It's me on my phone.
Uh-oh.
Well, we're live and 3 people are watching. Oh, well.
Oh, yeah. I don't see the comments going.
There's 3 on YouTube watching, supposedly.
Check YouTube. I left my phone in the other room.
We're having a show problem. Throw us something in the comments. Let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Oh, House is up. He's on the tube.
House.
He's on the tube.
Heads up. Is our show working, man, or is it not working? Wife's over here telling me the show's not working.
I think your wife's computer's broken. You better go buy her a new computer.
Nah, it's fine. Chris is sucking up all the internet. That's what's going on.
It is. All right, so finish the story.
I got my cord, so
it's like 2, maybe 3 in the morning. I don't know. And they load us on the plane. Now, I've never had this happen. They put us all on the plane, and then they wheel us all the way around, and we're circling, and we're driving all around in the plane like we're an Uber. And then I fell asleep. And then, like, there's this girl sitting next to me, and when we pulled up to the, it's like 3:30 in the morning. So I'm like, didn't think I went to sleep, but you never, when you're like really, really tired, you think you went to sleep, but you didn't go to sleep. I couldn't tell. Well, when we pulled back up at the gate, I just looked out the window and I was like, damn, it looks like New Orleans airport to me. I'm like,
no, are you serious?
Yeah. And I looked at the girl and I'm like, hey, are we back in New Orleans? And she's
get the frig out of here.
She was just kind of like, yeah. She kind of like was like, yeah. I'm like, did I go to sleep? She's like, yeah, you were asleep. And I was like, okay.
You hit that grandpa status, bro.
No, but she wasn't very clear. And I'm just like looking out the window and everybody's standing up on the plane. And I'm like, why is everybody standing up? And why does everybody look so pissed? What's going on? So I'm just sitting there and they're like 20 minutes go by. They're still not unloading us. And I'm like, what the hell? Well, I open up maps on my phone and I zoom in and I'm like, we're in freaking Atlanta. We haven't went anywhere. I'm like, why to me? And I get off the phone and I see literally like 1,000 people lined up trying to get rebooked. And I'm like, hell no. It's 4:30 in the morning. And so I immediately just got on my phone and was like, there's no way Delta's going to work this out for me, and all these 1,000 people are, maybe they don't fly a light and they're like, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to wait in this line. I'm like, new flight, find a flight. And
right.
Southwest had one flight left that left at 6:30 in the morning.
Wow.
through it, buy it, boom. And I ran to the other Concorde and got on a Southwest flight to fly home. And thank God I did. I luckily got out of there. I got home at noon the next day. So I went with no sleep. But being said, I did get to read this book.
What were you doing? You had like a conference somewhere?
Yeah, we were doing some testing on furnaces and different things.
That French word again.
Things I'm not able to talk about.
Oh, okay. All right.
Let's just say there's some cool stuff coming. But me, Steve Rogers, Bill Graber, Chad Simpson, who's running the race with me and Eric. If anybody doesn't know about that, next week there'll be no show. Sorry to tell you, me and Eric are running a triathlon with another friend. We've been working on this for a couple months. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Relay team, by the way. We're not all three running this triathlon.
Yeah, that's right. We're not in that good a shape.
Yeah. No, we are not.
But
I don't know about Chad, but
pretty
we
Yeah.
are not that good in that good a shape.
I'm not ready for an Ironman all to myself.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know. I got distracted, but anyway, the book was.
I'll do an Iron Man as long as I'm in a metal suit.
There you go. Like
Oh, thanks.
all the gizmos, press buttons, let it
That's
run.
it. Put
That'd
me in a
make that
flying
race a
suit.
lot faster. You know it.
Yeah.
So did you guys read Brian's book yet? Or I know Eric, you said you got a copy. Did you read it yet?
No, I haven't finished it yet. I started it.
Well, I don't want to like spoil it for you guys. I'll just keep quiet. We'll talk about it on another show when y'all have finished the book.
Hell no.
I mean,
Let me know, man. I'm gonna read it anyway.
It's Brian's book. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, it was you know, I don't want to like speak for him or try to like sum it up, but it's really interesting to get his perspective about how he sees college education. And he's not saying that he's resents people going to college. It's not about that.
Right.
We have such a direction of like wanting to send all our kids. Like, what's the best thing you do for your kids? Get them into college and get them out, right? Because they're going to be super successful. Like, that's how we think. Like, I'm that way, and I wasn't in college, and like I think, man, my kids probably need to go to college.
Yeah, it's a good business model.
Yeah, and it's like it's ingrained in our society, and he kind of beats on that. And it's like, why are we doing that? And he even says in his book that he feels the same way. And it's like when he said that, I was kind of like, whoa, because it's like, dude, I feel the same way. He feels the same way. Like, we're successful people, and like I didn't go to college, and it makes you think, like, why do I have this yearning for wanting to send my kids out?
Good marketing, baby. Good marketing.
I'll speak to that, and it is so ingrained in our society. Because, like you, I've never been to college. I've got a high school education. That's it. Full stop, right there.
I went to college.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hung out in my friend's dorm room a couple times. Yeah, it was nice.
Oh,
It was
well,
nice.
I mean, if you want to call that going to college,
I got-
Yeah,
maybe I've been
that's
to
about it
college
for me.
before.
I'm a trade school boy.
yeah, but I don't know if anybody's seen the post, but when I was talking about that, like when I went to trade school, like when my brother graduated college, man, it was an event, right? He graduated from Northwestern. The whole family goes down. There was it was a big deal, right?
Block party, right?
I mean, power to him. But like when I graduated trade school, like my dad, I think showed up. I think he showed up. I'm not even 100% sure. And then like I went home, and it was like, what are we doing tomorrow?
Get to work. Get
Yeah,
to work.
There was no like, call the grandparents. Chris graduated. There was none of that. So I don't know. I'm not
Dude,
I don't care. But
I told people I finished trade school, and they were like, "Oh, okay, cool."
yeah. Why isn't there like this huge like? That's freaking awesome. You know what I'm saying? Where's the celebration?
Dude, I don't know,
Crickets.
because like they celebrate graduation from kindergarten and every grade all the way up through high school.
Bro,
and
that's a good
college, and I
point.
think, why don't we celebrate that?
I think honestly, a good move forward would be celebrating trade school graduations. Like, make it a really big deal.
Why not?
Make it.
I think trade schools need to promote more. I think they're slacking on their PR team.
You think
Anybody needs a PR guy for trade schools? Yo, hit me up at the DMs. All right. Chief.
I mean, I
They're slacking.
I don't know if I agree with that. Like, there's a lot of trade schools out there promoting a lot of things, but I think it's really ingrained in our society, unfortunately, because I felt it when I was a kid. Now I got to say, my dad did not push me to go to college. He was very like, it's your choice. He went to college. He didn't have, he got a great education out of it, but he literally did not use that education that he got. Like, he went to a college it was a work college. And I know we're getting off track of our topic here, and we got to get on our topic.
We do.
But he went to a little college that was a work college where you had to actually work on the campus so many hours a week to attend the school. And when he graduated from there, he started up a little business with a classmate of his. And then he actually ended up going back to that college and running the entire utilities department through all the way up to his retirement. So that's what I grew up around. Like, but he didn't push me to go to college. Now, my grandparents on both sides of the family, they pushed hard. They were like, you have to go to college.
Right.
And I just never, I don't know. I'm one of those people that when somebody pushes me really, really hard to do something, like saying you have to do it, I'm going to turn around and run the other way.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
They pushed me hard because I was graduated the 2000s. You're like, oh, you guys are special or something. You're the 2000. Well, what does it matter? You know, it's just a number.
My parents didn't push me to college at all, man. Honestly, not to be, I don't know how to say this, but they didn't go to college. They had no idea how to get me to college. Right? Like they didn't understand anything from sign up for scholarships, make you do sure you do this. This is how you handle that. That was oblivious to them. So like I think it's first kudos to my brother, I guess is what I'm saying. Because like the fact that he went and handled up and went there is impressive because our parents had no education to deliver us to get us on that path.
Yeah.
You know,
I think colleges are snoozing the other way around too, because hey, they're missing out on all us. You know, why don't they develop a program? You know, I went to school for 17 years. Hey, got really kind of, public school.
Thanks, Jennifer. You're doing a great job out there.
Yep.
I could count on my fingers. You know, it's great. I could read, right? Awesome.
All right.
You know, like, hey, why don't they do something with colleges, with trades, have a short program for us.
I'll be honest with you, Michael. Rachel and I are somewhat involved still with this college where my dad worked because my wife went there. It was local in the town where we grew up in. And we've suggested that to them. And it may happen yet.
Oh, cool.
It's something that we're working on because they're still a work college, right? You have to work. Every student has to work 10 hours a week on this campus.
Okay.
And they do everything. Students on that campus have done everything from building buildings. They do the HVAC, they do the electrical, because my dad was in charge of electrical and plumbing. Pretty much anything on that campus that had pipes or wires. Like he did the telephone systems, he did building automation, he did all the electrical, the plumbing, you name it, he was in charge of it. So,
I actually had an idea that was actually real world. I'm loving it.
Yeah, I think there's a real case for combining a traditional liberal arts college with a technical education, because I think both halves are important, especially when it comes to things like HVAC. And a lot of the trades are very science-based. So there's an element that we can gain out of that. And if people want to go into business, like you can grab business classes there, right? You can grab economics classes that are all part of being successful in the world that we've built around us.
Yeah, because the state license for HVAC, man, I mean, the business end of it, come on, man.
Well, I mean, look at how many HVAC people out there are failing in business today.
Right. Like you're a great technician, but can you run the books?
Right.
I mean, I can't.
Speaking of running the books, Eric, don't we have a guest coming on in 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Speaking of running the books, we're going to invite a CPA on the show.
We're going to have a CPA on the show that is actually focused on HVAC businesses. So this is going to be really cool to talk to him about that. and he's going to give us some, I kind of talked to him. I met him on LinkedIn and we got to talking a little bit, and he was really excited to come on here and talk about what he's trying to do. So it's pretty cool.
So we're going to hit you with a high, right? Show tonight. We're going to hit you with a low, no show next week. And then we're going to hit you with a major high and bring on a guest. I love it. I can feel the anticipation just growing.
That's right.
So let's get on with the topic, man. I want to talk about this.
Yeah, what are we talking about today?
So there, we've all seen this chatter where people say, man, I need to get paid from the minute I crank that truck, right? Or I'm going to the shop, I'm getting paid, when I leave the shop, which, most people do probably. And then some people may go straight to the job. And I did a little bit of reading in this today because I was kind of curious. And before we lay anything down, let's just say this is opinion based because I did very limited research, but I did do some research. And I'm just going to throw out there what I've been reading. So there's this act that was established in 1996 called the Employee Commuting Flexibility Act, which is pretty interesting.
I got to look this up because I've never heard of this. And I've done a little research into this before because I've always thought about this when I was a tech driving a truck, and it's always interested me like how different companies think about this and how everybody else does this. And
Sure.
It seems like almost every company I've worked for or run across does this a little bit differently.
Well, I think you're right. And I think there's reasons for that. So here's some fun little factoids I've been kind of digging in. There is some information that I found online, and I can't remember the word they use, like incidental. Like if your work that you're doing, like let's say you're driving to the shop in the morning. Some people think they should get paid for that. Well, the rule kind of states it this way. That is incidental work. That is kind of something you have to do before you perform your principal work. And the ruling states you don't get paid for that. Now, I imagine
you don't have to get paid for that.
Have to get paid for that. So individual states could probably overrule that, maybe make their changes. Like I'm no attorney by no means. I don't know what the states do. I'm just telling you what I've been reading. But here's where it gets really interesting, Eric. Like you were talking about different people do different things. If that person takes their van and hooks up to a trailer and hauls a trailer to the shop, the job, wherever, by law, that's kind of like saying, okay, he gets paid when he leaves the house now because it is no longer incidental work. It is principal work. It is something he is doing. He's having to think a lot harder about driving because he's pulling something for work behind him. Some vehicles that kind of fell in this category would be like a concrete truck. Like if you drive a concrete truck, you get paid from the minute you get in that truck because you have to think about the awareness of this big machine on the road. I would imagine the same goes for like school buses and all big stuff like that. But the vans we drive around do not classify. So there's like some scripture in there where it's talking about if you have one seat and a passenger seat, no seats behind it, and it's loaded down with tools, that doesn't mean anything, right? So I imagine there is I didn't find anything that said anything about weight bearing or like axles. Like some people will buy specific size vehicles that fall under a tax deduction and some of them don't. That's why like 3/4 ton vans sell probably more than half-ton vans, I would think, because maybe there's a classification code for write-offs there. Not 100% sure. Maybe CPA can answer that in 2 weeks. But
you never know.
So I worked for a company, and we'd have a meeting once a week, and they'd pay us like $18.
So what I'm saying is this thing is loose, dude. There's so many variables here.
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
It totally explains why there's a lot of mass confusion going on of when people get paid and when they don't get paid. It's not cut and dry.
No.
And then they say the word work, and work, you've got work, principal work, and incidental work. I mean, these terms could be, they could be left up to the owner to decide what's what.
So, like, what do they? Yeah, I mean, that's interesting because, like, what do you consider work? If you have to pick up your phone and read a dispatch to figure out where you're going, is that considered work or is that incidental work?
See, I would consider that incidental work. I mean, that's part of everyday driving navigation, you know what I'm saying? But if you pull over to finish off some paperwork, I mean, that would be principal work. It's time to get paid. Now,
Yeah.
here's another really interesting fact that apparently in 2005 there was a court case that was brought into question about some people at a meat factory plant or whatever. And to kind of get into the details, let me try to remember exactly how this went. Story goes like this. This is the ruling. If you travel to your shop, that's your normal day of travel, shopping back every day, then basically it states they don't have to pay you, right, for that travel because that's just your incidental workload. Now, if you go to the job site, it says that basically you don't get paid for the standard travel time that you drove to the shop and back for. Let's say you drive to the shop, it's 30 minutes, right? 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back. That is your normal drive time. Well, if you go to a job in the morning, you don't go to the shop, you go to the job, you get 30 minutes down the road. The next 15 minutes, that's company time. They pay you for that 15 minutes. That's how I read it. And so for that day, you know, if you go to the job, work 8 hours and come home, you're getting paid for 8.5 hours. And 30 minutes of drive time is, you know, there and back is on you.
Yeah.
So
Now, I worked at one company. This was before I was in HVAC, and we had to be on the clock anytime we were driving a company truck.
See,
and we were told that was because of their insurance.
That makes sense to me.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm opposed to that, but the rule states that it can be a company vehicle and they don't have to pay you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and I think that may vary, you know, that's a federal law, right?
Yeah.
So there may be different regulations state to state, and especially with insurance regulations. We were told that anytime we were driving the to and from a job site, the driver, because we were driving crew trucks, you know, with 4 to 5 people in them at a time. And depending on where we were going, the driver always had to be on the clock when we were driving between job sites or work. Now, if we all loaded up and went out to dinner or something like that, yeah, that was different because we were just going to dinner. But if we were going between the shop and a job site or wherever, we would always have to have the driver for sure on the clock.
Because that's weird, man. Because that commission company I was working for, I don't know how the hell they did it, man. Because I'd go to a free estimate, not get paid nothing. But
Yeah.
if I did warranty work, you know, like when we installed an AC unit, it's got a 10-year warranty, or it's within the first year labor, you know, I would get paid. And now it's been so long, man, I almost forgot what was going on. I think they would pay drive time if it was over in half an hour. They're like, okay, we'll take care of it. And then at one point they were paying only one way there. Some crazy stuff. The rules would change every other year.
Yeah, I think someone could find themselves getting in trouble doing that. And the reason I say that, if you're going to have a policy, you need to have a policy. Because here's what I would be worried about as an owner. If I have a policy today and a new policy tomorrow or next year or whatever.
Right. Yeah, it changed.
And someone decides to investigate this heavily and finds that it was not being treated properly, that's not a lawsuit for one person. That's a lawsuit for everybody at that point, right? That's a company-wide issue now.
Yeah. I mean, and then you get into like your minimum wage laws and stuff like that too start coming into play there.
Yeah, we got nabbed, man. We weren't taking lunches, so a guy did do a lawsuit at that company. He won. They were forcing us to take lunches after. That's pretty funny.
House brought up a pretty interesting point. He said there's ways around it, especially if you're on commission-based pay.
Yeah.
I think I would debate that, though, because we talked about it last show. Me and you, Eric, we were talking about getting paid, like as a tech, getting paid hourly. And I'm not saying how you build a customer could be billed by commission based, and you get commission based pay. But you know, I would think. I mean, if he was straight commission, maybe there's something there. But I wouldn't. Most people are probably like hourly plus commission. So like, if hourly is attached to that person's name at any way, shape, and form, I would think it would kind of play a role.
Well, even if you're commission based or whatever, there are certain classifications of people that have to be paid. It actually has to equal out a certain wage per hour.
Right.
If you looked at all their hours worked and all their pay, it has to come out to a certain wage per hour. And then if somebody ever reviews that and figures out that they came in under that, like the company then owes them back pay.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That can get really, really sticky.
I could stir the
from what I've
pot
heard.
real good.
Tell us who you're going after, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways around that. And I mean, I can't say that there's a right way or a wrong way. I mean,
Right.
I've got opinions about it, but so does everybody else. And you know, techs have one opinion, business owners have opinions, accountants have opinions, and there's a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, like I was saying last week, like one guy was working there for a long time. He didn't even know we got paid for signing people up for maintenances.
So
Yeah, and the thing is, to me, like if a company has that policy and the company's not tracking that and not paying him, you know, to me, I would think there's something iffy going on there.
It's just, dude, it's really no offense to the office, because there's so much to keep track of when you got like, what we have, like 15 service guys, 15 vans of installers, you know, like a bunch of office people. So I'm not making an excuse either.
Yeah, but when that paperwork comes in, they know
Bro.
who signed that up because they can track every invoice.
You're
They-
right.
They
You
know
are right,
who ran
man.
that invoice.
Yeah.
And if they're saying, hey, we're paying a spiff on this, the
Yeah.
office should be tracking that. Now,
Yeah.
you might want to keep track of it and just double check them, but the office should be tracking that, and they shouldn't be making you track that
Yeah.
to turn your stuff in.
I brought that to my buddy like a couple months back. I was like, "You remember that?" He goes, "Oh yeah, I remember that."
I bet he
So-
does. I bet he never
Yeah.
forgot that.
But I gotta make a shout out, man, real quick. I'm gonna
All
squeeze it in there. My aunt in Long Island, she had a Mitsubishi mini split. She called like 5 guys. Nobody would come out. Got a guy Brian, All Shore Air in Massapequa, Long Island. If anybody knows this guy, I want to tell him thank you. He
kudos.
hooked my aunt up.
Nice.
Nice. So
There's,
what do you,
there's good people out there. They're just hard to find.
did he condemn it?
Yeah, he should have. I was there only for 2 days when I saw my aunt, and it was like a R22 Mitsubishi mini split. And yeah, he said he was there for only for a little bit. And
Holy cow. An R22?
yeah.
Wow.
And my cousin had a jug of 22, and I grabbed his gauges and tried to get it going. It was pulling down, freezing up. I just figured the blower was really bad. And yeah, if anybody else can go back and do a bib kit on there and do a cleaning, please. I'll pay
wait a
in
minute.
Zelle.
He just fixed the R22 mini split?
Dude, charge her $50 and head it out. Yeah.
Whoa. What state or where are we talking about here?
We're talking New York, baby.
Dude, you can't even park a car in New York for 50
Yeah.
bucks.
Well, we're talking in the burbs, you know, South Shore, right where
Yeah.
they caught that murderer over there, you know, the Giggle Beach murderer.
Man, I think she got off cheap.
Did he show up in
Dude,
like
that's a good guy.
everything?
What's that?
Did he show up in like a real service truck and everything for $50?
Well, hopefully I'm not getting him in trouble, but Brian at All Shore.
I'm trying to help him out, man. We're getting
Hopefully the boss isn't watching. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That just
Dang.
seemed really cheap to me to even show up at someone's front door.
Oh,
Brian-
dude, like
Brian,
all day, $80 to $120 is the going rate for everybody, you know.
Right?
Brian, if you're out there in 2 weeks, we're going to have a CPA on this show, and you should tune in.
Yeah, it's a good cause, man. Aunt just got out of cancer surgery and yeah, some other things,
Oh, so
man.
he was doing it, maybe he knew who you were, man. Maybe he was like, holy crap, this is the Grapevine guy.
Dude, hey, you never know, man.
You know what I'm saying?
This show's crazy.
Dude, you have no idea what kind of stroke we got in this show.
I don't know, man.
Did she bake him? Did she bake him? Okay, I got to put this one up, right?
We had Jim Bergman on the show.
Yeah,
No, she cooked him lasagna.
Oh, right. That's Italian, right? Yeah.
there you go, man. There's the
Oh, Aunt Mary
left-
makes a mean rollatini, baby. Oh
That
my
dude left in
god!
a food coma, man. He was waddling out to his truck.
I think
by
we
the
gotta
time he
get
was
we
done.
gotta get Chris some rollatinis from my aunt.
Did you? I mean, she probably didn't even send him home with like a tray. It was like a whole freaking like, hey, I'm feeding your family.
The aluminum tray, bro. That's how she cooks.
Yeah,
feeding your family for a week. Lasagna.
Dude,
Cooks in trays and big pots.
yeah.
There's only two people coming over tonight. Yeah, we'll cook a tray.
yeah.
It's a trip.
Oh, wait,
She's
there's
old
two
school,
people
you know?
coming. I'm cooking 2 trays.
Yeah, 2 people, a tray a person. That sounds about right.
You
We
know,
want to make everybody obese.
you know what's big around here, man? Like every time I would run service calls, periodically somebody would give me like packaged deer meat, right?
Really?
Oh
you guys
yeah,
are country.
dude, that's how it was. It's like,
The only
hey,
deer meat we had over there is on the side of the road.
dude, I'm telling you, every time, and it's like they had to purge it so they'd have a reason to go hunting because like their freezer would be full, right?
Right,
And they're like,
right.
I gotta purge this freezer because I have a good excuse to tell my wife I need to go shoot another deer. So
Oh, I got
they
you.
just like unload it and say,
Freezer.
"Hey, you want some of this?" And I'm like, "I mean, yeah, I'm going home. Shoot, I'll
That's
take
funny.
whatever you got." And so
Freezer's empty. Gotta go get another one.
that's
So,
right.
remember when I was on vacation up north at PA?
Yeah,
My buddy goes, you know, his wife goes, hey, we're gonna have a cooking schedule. All right, one night you're cooking. All right, I was like, all right, cool. I was like, I'll do something easy. I'll do tacos, right? So we go to the store. I'm like, what do you think? How many pounds of chuck should I get? He goes, don't worry about it. I got some ground up, meat. So I'm cooking, right? I'm in the kitchen by myself, and I'm like, what the freak is going on with this chopped meat? Right, it's dry as shit.
yeah.
And I'm throwing a little olive oil with a little bit of garlic. I'm like, what is? I gotta hydrate this, right? I was like, I'm like, bro, the steak, whatever you got going on, man, is lean,
yeah.
right? So everybody's eating. I got it hydrated. I put a little bit of butter in there, whatever I had to do. He goes, how do you like the bison? Or no, it was the elk. It was elk.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, that's why it's so friggin' lean. Okay, gotcha. He goes, look at my brother's house. He had a mount. This freaking thing was huge, bro. It was like Bullwinkle, whatever the hell that cartoon is, right?
Were you staring at the animal as you were?
Yeah,
You know,
Bullwinkle was a moose, dude.
it was a moose. Yeah,
Bullwinkle was a
come
moose.
on, I'm not from the woods, you know. That
Yeah.
thing was huge, bro. It took up half the living room.
So when we do,
He
cut
went
up
to Montana for that thing.
when you cut up a deer, man, like the practice is here. I don't know how it is for everybody else, but I'll just say, like anything we're going to ground in the chuck, we mix it 50-50. 50% deer meat, 50% hamburger chuck, and you ground it up,
Throw a little Wagyu beef in there, whatever you got to do, man. That sucker was lean, baby.
Oh man, you throw a little bit of pork fat in there. Oh, that's good.
Right. Yeah, I had to do like 2 double shots of like olive oil in that bastard.
Oh man, come on! You're telling me you didn't have any bacon grease sitting there? You just dump a little bacon grease in there,
good
man.
call. I should have just like microwaved some friggin' bacon real quick. Just how we get on cooking again? I'm sorry, guys. Back to HVAC.
HVAC cooking show,
HVAC.
man. Welcome to the HVAC Grapevine. Join us as next week Michael C. and Franco is going to cook elk burgers.
We're just gonna cook next episode. I'll be in the kitchen. You guys come in with me, all right?
That would be hilarious.
It's a
Honestly,
good show.
I would totally love to see a show where you
know-
show the cameraman and you're just cooking the whole show.
That's
You know what that show's all about? That show's all about the V, and that's the ventilation.
Oh yeah, I like it.
dude. While I'm cooking, right? I'll
Right.
show them. Come on, I'll show you my ventilation up here, right?
Darn
You got
right.
fresh air coming in.
Heck yeah!
That would be.
Oh, it's funny shit.
All right, so I got to ask a question, something I don't know that much about. Per diem. I have never had a job that paid me per diem, and I don't really understand it. How do they calculate per diem per day for someone who goes out of town? Like, where do they pull that? Is it just like state law, federal law? You go out and you find per diem per day pay, kind of like paying for vehicle allowance fee, or is it kind of same thing?
Kind of depends on where you're going to be at. And it depends on what the person is actually paying for out of their per diem. So like the one place that I worked at where I had per diem, again, this was before I was in the HVAC industry. We got per diem for food because they paid for our hotel rooms. They paid for our trucks and everything to get there.
Nice.
But we got per diem for food so that we could go out and eat or buy food, whatever, while we were traveling.
No gentlemen's clubs.
That's been, what's that?
No gentlemen's clubs, right?
I don't do what? What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't either.
Nobody knows.
You lost me. I mean, way over my head.
I got a story I could tell you over in Tampa, but I can't do it live. My first HVAC company down here in Florida. Oh my goodness.
Save it for the Animal House, man.
Woo!
No,
So,
I mean,
when your boss takes you somewhere, I mean, what are you going to tell your boss?
I don't
can't
remember.
go,
I don't remember how much we got per day back then, but that's been 20 plus years ago. I want to say we were getting like $26 a day or something like that. But it's per day, just how it's a flat fee per day for every day that you're out. And basically it is, you get paid for every night that you spend out, essentially, not per day, but per night.
So is it like up to the owner's discretion, or like?
That's kind of my understanding. Yeah.
Yeah.
The company's discretion, how much they're going to pay you for, because it since it's per diem, it's not taxed because it's essentially a reimbursement for living is what it is.
Man, we should ask a CPA about that in 2 weeks.
We should.
I would like to hear some guidelines around that.
Chris is going to have like notes out the ears.
The more we talk about this, the more I feel like there needs to be like a guideline for a little young HVAC guy going into the trade. Like, listen, there's companies that pay this, companies that pay that. Be careful of these guys.
Just putting that
like,
up.
you almost have to be business savvy because you can get stuck with a company, bunch of jamokes, taking advantage of these guys, I don't know. I'm just worried about these kids jumping in there, they get stuck at these dead-end jobs.
I mean, 75 a day is pretty good for food. But like I said, it pays. Now, I've seen companies where they pay you per diem and you provide your own lodging too. But that generally is more of a long-term traveling gig where like you're bringing a camper or you're,
right.
I would, how do I say this? I don't know if I like that move because.
So here's something. Apparently, like Maine has a minimum, so it has to be 25 or more a day.
Right. Hear me out though. If someone is responsible for getting their hotel room and you pay them per diem for that, and that person decides to just go sleep in the truck, is that person going to come to work the next day fresh and ready to kick butt? I don't know. And I don't know if I like that because like that person, you want that person to be like super productive the next day, well rested, slept in a bed. And I don't know. I don't like the idea of paying a lot of money and then that person finding every which way to try to like game the system. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, like we had in the cruise I was working on, we had guys that would, they would eat microwave ramen noodles in their hotel room because they'd spend all their per diem on something else or whatever.
Oh, wow. That's funny. Well, you know what? I just found that on C-SPAN, Hunter Biden just wrote off one of his lady friends for 10 grand. So, I mean, it depends on who's running your books,
I mean, I guess it's loosey goosey, right? I mean, the way you can think about it. Like Jason,
pretty good money right there. It's pretty good money.
Jason Julian brought up a good point. And I know a lot of people in different industries do this. They'll get a camper and they'll like buy a camper and haul it around. And they'll live in this camper and travel.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't see nothing wrong with that,
Yeah.
Because like they're getting a good night's sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and that's a lot of people will do that in where you're going to be long term on a job site. If you're going to be months or years on a job site, you'll find some of the it especially happens a lot in the traveling welders where
Yeah.
they're working in okay, so there's standard rates for lodging and meals only. They will set up campers. Like I've seen some they'll set up in a permanent campsite for 6 months, 9 months, a year, a couple of years, depending on the length of the job. But they'll just like tow a fifth wheel or a big camper in there, and
Yep.
that's their house.
Yeah, I've got some friends that do that.
That's why I like residential. I stay close to the house.
Unless you're in Pennsylvania fixing your aunt's busted R22.
Dude, when I saw that green jug of Deuce, man, I was like, oh, no way.
What did you call that?
The 22, the Deuce.
Deuce.
Got the
I've
Deuce
never
in
heard
the
that.
trunk of my car, man. Come on.
Liquid gold, man.
Liquid gold, baby.
That is hilarious.
It doesn't smell like 410A, like horse
So-
manure, you know?
Is art
Dude,
like?
does 410A smell funky to you guys or just me?
No, I don't think it smells funky. But I
Let
would
me know in the
oil.
comments, guys. Come on. I thought I was the only one.
POE oil smells different.
POE.
It's the
Woo!
oil.
Stinks.
Is 22 still really, really, really expensive, or is it?
22 smells
down?
decent.
No, it's
With-
pretty
With
expensive.
the mineral oil.
Because, once the demand starts falling off, I mean, there's probably people sitting on drums of this stuff thinking they're going to sell it for big money or retain it for big money. I don't know. But I feel like once the demand of, customer base, when the equipment gets changed out, 22 is going to fade and it's not going to be
Yeah.
worth a lot of money. I mean,
I
we saw
agree.
it play out with, what was it? Was it R12? Like my dad's era
I
with
think I
that.
get a jug for like around 600 now for 22.
I mean, so the thing is with 22, there's still a fair amount of equipment out there that uses it that can't use anything else. Because there's a lot, as we know, there's a lot of substitutes for 22 out there
Yep.
also. But
Yeah, I like the mo.
there's still a fair amount of equipment. There's a lot of especially train equipment.
Mo
with the,
99, baby. I like that blue jug.
Oh, what is that? They have a certain type of compressor that you can't use pretty much anything but R22 in. In fact,
Well,
I
that
think
sucks because
most places just
they
put
stopped
R-
manufacturing it, right? A couple of years ago, no?
Well, yeah, it's not manufactured. You can't import it. So all we
Right.
have is reclaim. So reclaim it and resell it because
Wow.
you can sell it back now and get paid pretty good money for selling reclaimed R22 back.
Nice.
Yeah.
I got a good 12 pounds in my unit I can get rid of when
I mean, there's
Switch it over.
places now that are paying for just about every refrigerant. And what I've heard from the refrigerant reclamation companies is that it is so. It used to be that mixed refrigerants would get destroyed. But
Craigslist, baby.
nowadays it
Craigslist.
has. So it used to be that they would destroy mixed refrigerants, right? But nowadays it's actually become economical to separate mixed refrigerants.
Really?
Yeah. So they always could. The technology was always there, but it wasn't economically feasible to actually do it because the price was so low. Well, with the prices going up on refrigerant, it's become economically feasible to separate mixed refrigerants. So there's actually reclamation companies out there now paying for mixed refrigerants so that they can get them, separate them out, and
I
put 'em
want to
back.
set up a shop in India and just say it's reclaimed refrigerant and just make our, 22. You know?
I didn't know.
Anybody over there want to hook up? Let's do it. Let's make some 22, baby.
I had no idea that was going on, that they would separate refrigerants and actually buy it from you. I wonder if you think they're buying that, or they basically taking it off your hands for free.
They've been doing this for a while, man.
There's a couple companies out there that are buying it hardcore. And I talked to one, I'm trying to remember the name of it, at the educators conference. And I think they said they were paying for pretty much every flavor except for the ones that are still on patent. They were paying for them, buying them.
Damn.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get a clean jug of a reclaimed jug. Start getting into it, man, because
Here's a
Yeah.
business idea for you, man. Just throwing this out there. You could have a business model where you follow around construction crews who are going to do major overhauls on big facilities and just be their reclaim guy. Hey, let me go pull all the refrigerant out of
Right.
everything here.
That business is already out there.
Is it?
Oh yeah,
Like I did that once.
it's
And
called around here. It's called rapid recovery.
Oh, okay.
snap.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Like I had after the 2016 flood hit us here, there was major overhaul work going on. And there was a prison that this company basically they bid this contract and it's good for like 3 years or something. And if anything major goes down, they're like automatically in for it or some weird. It's a weird ordeal. But I got called in by this company as like a subcontractor, and they just wanted me to go in and reclaim everything. And I was like, okay. And they were like, hey, you got to weigh it out. You got to let us know every little
That's
bit of
cool.
information on the way out because they had to report it all. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. I was like, what do you want me to do with it? They're like, actually, we have to report where it goes. And I was like, okay. So
I remember Brian Orr was talking about it, and if it's contaminated, you get stuck with a little bit of a bill. He was saying.
So the price, well, and that's market based, right? So the market has changed since then,
Oh,
right?
okay.
And now it's worthwhile to separate it, and so they can make money on it now, taking the time to separate it versus
cool.
before it wasn't economical to go through that process because it's an involved process. So
Yeah,
you might not get a bunch of money for it,
right.
but you're going to get something out of it.
I'll
Just
tell
like
you,
that company that takes the old Shell compressors and redoes them.
I
I think.
I mean, it's better than a stick in the eye, right?
I don't remember what we
Always.
made on that project, but man, I pulled down some mega refrigerant, right? And I separated it all. So I contacted a company and they ended up sending me a couple large cylinders that I kept at the shop. And then I would take a bunch of 30-pound cylinders and go to the facility, and me and other guys would separate. It's like me and two other guys knocked it all out. We would just go reclaim everything independently, shuck the cylinders back and write them down, and then, go transfer it into the big tanks before we shipped it. But
We got to come.
which gives me an idea. Here's a product idea for somebody that you can have it already tried it. It didn't go anywhere. I made them internally for our company, but like I had some stickers made through Vistaprint one time, which was like R22, and I had R22. It was a color, and it had these little dots on it that said like contaminated, not contaminated, clean. It was a way we could kind of track the drums. And I was going to I was thinking about making these things and producing them for the industry. But the problem was the magnet was not sticky enough for the drum and get a little oil on it and it just want to fall right off. But it's an idea. Somebody should do that. Like a way, because writing with a Sharpie on drums is just kind of like, it's crap.
Well, now
Yeah.
with the current regulations, you have to have a log on that drum, and that drum has to be tagged somehow.
True, but let's be honest, and everybody who's in this chat's going to agree with me. There's the log, and then there's reality. Right?
Dude, every company I worked for, I don't
I'm
know,
just
was
saying
pretty
what the
light on the recovery action, if you know what I mean.
I'm saying what the regulations are. Whatever
yeah.
you all do is up to you.
Right?
But I mean, like I said, there's money to be made. Now, up around here, like you're talking about, Chris, there's a company called Rapid Recovery, and that's all they do. They pull up with a truck, and I had them on a job one time on top of a 5-story building. And the only thing they took up on that roof was a hose. A big, giant hose.
Yeah.
Wow.
Drug it up the side of the building from their truck. They had a big spool of it on the
Smurf pipe?
back of their truck, and all they did was haul it up there, hook it up, pump that unit down right into the tanks in the back of their truck, and see you later.
AccuTools, the Big Blue.
No, it was a custom made. Everything on their trucks is custom made.
Wow. That's
It couldn't have been a Big Blue because that's not pressure rated. Like this was a refrigerant hose, right?
Right,
I mean, it was
right.
like a 3/4 or 1-inch diameter refrigerant hose that they drug up there on the roof.
That's cool.
So my old man's coming to the Animal House this year. I don't know if I told you.
Oh
But,
yeah.
Yeah.
he'll tell you some fun stories, man, about hoses and pulling vacuums. Like this whole big hose movement, it's been there before. Like my dad
really?
used to.
No
Oh yeah, when they used to pull vacuums down on chillers, and my dad. And the only reason I know this because I've seen this pump. We still have it like tucked away at our shop somewhere, buried. But it was a pump, belt driven on a dolly. You know, you bring it in. It's a monster thing. We used to use it periodically on a specific building downtown. It was water source equipment, cooling tower, and the equipment every now and then would lose a compressor and the system would be full of water. And we'd have to hook this beast up and let it pull the water out of the system. And it was like once we would do this, typically 3 times a day, somebody would go over there and change the oil on this massive pump, put new oil in it, and we'd put it back on and then let it run all night, go back. And we'd do that for like 7 days.
Like 5 gallons of oil at a time?
No, I wouldn't say it was that much, but it took way more than like a regular pump. But basically, we go cycle the oil and check the vacuum and see where it's at. We just go over and over and over and over again. I mean, it was a hell of a cleanup process.
Yes, good auto correct, Jason. Good auto.
But
I'll tell you, Papa Hughes has got some stories, man. He works on like oil company rigs, and he was telling me some stuff, and I was like, I'm like, bro, you know, I'm a residential guy, man.
Oh, he'll blow you.
He's getting into industrial stuff. I'm like, woo.
He got to live in a world where people don't do certain things anymore. Like,
yeah,
like there was some like rebuilding motors, right? Like a Carrier 06D compressor. Like today, someone might take the reed valves off the heads and put them back on and fix bad valves. That's really not that hard of a job. Like, you know, I mean, counting the whole process of isolating it from the system, doing the whole thing, maybe you're there a day and you're done, right? Okay. But the idea of rebuilding it, like pulling the electric motor out and everything, nobody does that on site anymore. So nobody's going to understand the inner workings of that compressor that well. But back in the day, they did that. They would be like, we're going to rebuild it right here. Like,
dude, I'd love to just do a little heavy commercial, man. Do on those big V8 Copelands.
Yep.
Dude, I never got to go that heavy when I was in commercial, man.
I mean, I don't think anybody does. I didn't get to go that heavy. I mean,
I really
change valves like I was talking about on the top of the compressor, you know, but pull an electric motor, man, it would be a waste of time and money because I'd send it to the motor shop. We pull it, there it goes down the road.
Yep.
It'd be somebody else billable expense.
It's way faster and easier to get a customer back up and running by pulling it completely out and sending it to the motor shop. But back in the day when your dad was doing a lot of that, they didn't necessarily have that handy. You know,
dude, I got stuck on a rabbit hole on YouTube watching guys in Pakistan and India rebuilding alternator motors, man. I'm like, dude, I've been watching this for 45 minutes. I got to turn this off. It's amazing, though. Those guys are in the middle of the streets.
Oh, yeah.
You ever seen something like that, bro? It's crazy.
I watched a video. I got stuck on like just TikTok one day watching this dude rebuild this little like refrigeration compressor. And all I can think about in my mind is, how the hell is he going to keep it clean?
Bro, right? I know, me too. I'm like,
and I'm wondering to myself, I'm like, does it have to be that clean? Like, I know all this in my brain, but I'm like, I'm watching it happen in reality, and I'm like, this dude's building this thing on the street, and it totally looks like it's going to perform really well when he's done.
Yeah,
maybe it does. I don't know.
Mind-bending stuff on. Gotta love the YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm so upset that Google bought him out. Wait, keep the show online, please. Thank you, Google. We love you. I already said something about Hunter Biden already, so I think we got kicked off.
Man, don't even get me started on that crap. You know,
all right.
He's got a good tax guy.
Enough of the political stuff. That's enough of the political stuff.
I said nothing political. I'm just talking about a person.
Yeah, that's political.
That's
in today's world. That's political.
I don't know. I watched C-SPAN. It was on TV. It's not my fault.
Everything's political right now.
Unfortunately, you're not far off the truth, I don't think. But
I'm excited about the new Tamex trains coming out with, baby. They got it out. Oh, shit.
So, dude, tell us about
what's a Tamex?
Mike, you just went to class. Tell us about your story.
Yeah. You were going to tell us, and then you were like, no, I said, no, man, save it for the show.
Yeah, my buddy's company, he's going through a little hard time right now. So he was like, hey, you mind jumping in and doing a class for the new Tamex. I think we went over the Link system actually. So it's a new communicating system that Train's doing residential, and I think the commercial line is oh man, Odyssey. No, I forget. I don't want to say the wrong thing. Too many whiskeys. But what they're doing is they got a new Link system. It's amazing, man. So
Tell us about it, man. What is this is for residential
unit? Yeah. So they're gonna have like a hub now. So almost like the Honeywell IAQ had its own little spot where you put ventilation in, right?
Oh, okay.
So you got your hub, you got your user interface is going to work with that, and the air handler is going to communicate through there. It's going to be like a hub for the condenser too. So it's interesting, man.
There you go, Link 360.
Yeah, the 360 thermostat. Yep. Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm like, so what is it? What's it gonna do for you for like making life easier? That's what I'm curious to know.
It's going to communicate a little bit more than the older system. So it's going to have the bandwidth is going to be bigger, right? A little bit.
What's that mean, Eric?
Little bit bandwidth.
I thought
A
we
little
were
bit more bandwidth. Yeah.
Are we playing Pac-Man?
But yeah, it's a little different. So and they were going over, what systems do what. So a little bit. So basically, I'm going to have an app on my phone, kind of like MeasureQuick, and you're going to be able to tell, you're going to be able to start up the unit, right? You'll be able to commission it just like MeasureQuick. So MeasureQuick was beat them to the punch by like a couple years, or maybe they stole it from Jim. I don't know. Maybe they stole it from Jim, but basically, you have to have somebody. You don't have to, but it'll be like a nightmare to start up a unit without this app. So you basically run the system through the app. Oh, I don't have my phone, damn it. And you basically can do a whatchamacallit. If it needs software update, you'll be able to activate through your phone, Bluetooth. And like I said, you'll be able to have pressures, subcool, superheat, everything.
Oh, I remember you saying something about this. They're going to have Bluetooth transducers. Is that right?
Well, since the condenser is going to communicate with the hub, so if you're inside, yeah, you'll be able to have your high pressure, low pressure switches.
So what all does this hub do? Obviously it's kind of the central, like everything ties in, but like, can you run a third party dehumidifier, a third party humidifier, ventilation, all that stuff off of this?
Yeah, actually, that's funny. That was a good question. I asked the guy in the live stream. I was like, what are we gonna do for fresh air, man? Because I was like, I'm working with Haven. You got air quality monitors like Yoo-Hoo. Can I make or break a switch? And he goes, not yet, but they're working on it. So I think they're working with Aware in the past, but nothing yet. So I'm a little disappointed with that. What you got, Jason?
Julian says yes.
You got something?
And he seems to know what the heck he's talking about.
Jason said he's about to put one in. So it
Yeah.
sounds like Jason
It's coming. Yeah, because I was only on this like last week, but you never know what instructor you get. They could not be in the loop. He might be focused on just communication, because that was all the live stream they were talking about, was getting everybody on board with just the Link system coming out.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds pretty neat, like especially if they have like programmable auxiliary inputs. So like if they've got an input where you can throw in like a Haven, controller or something like that, and then that can do something.
Yeah, actually what he said was, we do have now on the air handler is a dry set of contacts, like what I used to use with the BAY 24 board. It looked like the zone board, but it's not.
Somebody tell me what we're talking about again.
Am I speaking a little Japanese here?
We're talking about Train's new Link 360 system.
Yeah.
Right?
You're not speaking Japanese, you're speaking trainees.
Trainees. But yeah, man, it's got a set of dry contacts for a float switch, and it's got a set of dry contacts for if you want to make and break for a ventilator, dehumidifier. So
Nice.
but
That's pretty cool. That's a
Yeah.
good. That's a good update. Like I've said that I've told a couple manufacturers in the past that, like, why do you guys not have any kind of ventilation control, at least to meet 62.2 in
Isn't it
your
crazy?
communicating systems? That, I mean, it just drives me nuts. Like
Like,
they'll control
nobody
a
wants to pay for the
humidifier.
patent on a new air handler or something. It's weird, man.
Like, you know,
You gotta like the political smoke and mirror speech, but really they're just doing this behind you, going, it's all about money.
Right?
Well, the thing is, like all these manufacturers, and we've talked about this before, want to have their proprietary communicating
Oh,
systems,
man.
right?
Bro.
But none of them will
Yeah.
make them big enough to control everything that a house really needs.
But yet the thermostat will cost you your right foot. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
it costs so much, but it doesn't actually do the job. That's why I still love
Right.
the Honeywell Prestige
Right. The
IAQ.
Prestige, baby. That's what I got.
Yeah.
I love it.
Because
And let me tell you, man, even on the webinar, they were like the 824 thermostat, the trains, it looks the same as their high end. They're like, do not use anything else. It doesn't have the same software and the programming to do dehumidification.
I mean, that's
Ooh,
a little
golly.
high, but that ain't bad, really. Not
I mean,
compared to some of the other stuff out there.
I would say
Yeah.
everything for smart thermostats is getting about that price, which
Yeah.
is pretty
Hey,
interesting.
trains Wi-Fi, the 24 volt that you can put on anybody's system, not too bad. Like 240, 250, 260. You know, I mean, you can get a piece of crap Nest for 200 and change, right?
I am
Oh shoot! Does Google own Nest? We're really gonna get canned on this damn YouTube. Damn it! Son of a bitch. I quit. I keep on bashing Google. We